So I'm having a chat with Alexander Stewart. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I just landed in London like an hour ago and feeling very excited to be here.
How's the jet lag?
You know, hey, I like to say jet lag's simply a state of mind. It's not real. So that being said, I'm so tired, but I have this joke with all my friends whenever we're jet lagged. We're like, it's fake, it's not real. Just go through. You push through, you're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Now, we've been playing a new single of yours called How Dare You. Tell us a little bit about the single, first of all.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. So How Dare You? I actually wrote in London probably like 4 months ago. It was the last song off the album that we wrote. And I was doing a bunch of sessions out here and I was in the Uber on the way to studio and I needed something just fun and like almost like angry almost, but like something that I knew it shows people could just scream and like let some feelings out. And so I ended up writing the chorus of that song in the Uber on the way to the studio, and the whole thing was done so fast. And we listened back, and I was like, "That's exactly what I wanted." It's basically just a good old "screw you" song, which I did not have. And playing it live is like my favorite part of the set every night.
Good, good, nice. And that's come off your debut record, which is out now. For those who have not heard it yet, tell us what people can expect to hear if they go take a listen.
Oh my gosh, you can hear a wide range of things. It's so as an artist, I'm like a very big believer in honesty and being really honest with myself. So my music is quite an honest retelling of sort of the last few years of my life, the key points. And that goes over, relationships and breakups, and also like something else I stand for quite strongly is mental health. So I have a few songs about mental health and just making sure you're checking in with yourself. So the whole thing is quite emotional. So I would say you could be prepared to feel some feelings.
Yeah, nice. And you've been touring quite extensively. You've just arrived in the UK, but you've been touring for the past month. How has the touring been?
Oh, it's so fun. It's my favorite part about all of it is the touring. Um, the we I spent so much time on this show making sure that it was going to be like an upgrade from the last shows, and so the show is kind of sectioned into three parts. um the first part, which is kind of like, a little more exciting, the middle part, which is where I really get to dive in on mental health and be a little more vulnerable, and then the last part, which is sort of like, the bigger songs and whatnot. But it's been so fun getting off stage every night. Is it's hearing your own like lyrics scream back to you is a feeling that's so hard to describe, but it's like every single night I'm like, and this is why I do what I do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you've still got some dates here and in Europe as well. That takes you through to the end of the month. What's your plan once this tour's out of the way? What are you doing next?
Oh my gosh, what am I doing next? Well, I'm taking 10 days off. I'm gonna fly back to Toronto to just be with my family for a bit because I feel like I don't get the older you get, you don't see your
Mm.
family as much, and I miss them so dearly. So I'm gonna go back, spend some time just with family, so important. And then kind of immediately I think I go back into the studio to start writing for album two, which is crazy to say because I feel like album one just happened. But already so much to write about. So I'm excited. When I'm on tour, it's always funny because I kind of make it a point not to write as much on tour so that when it's time to like, get down to it, I have so much that I want to talk about. But I'm like, I feel like at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get some stuff out.
Yeah, I can well imagine. Have you got an idea of what direction you want to take the next record in?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yes, I've like had so many conversations with so many people about this. Um, I think the next record sonically is going to be a little bit more oh god, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna be completely just not right. But I grew up, I spent a lot of my time in a place called Timmins, Ontario, which is very, very North Canada,
Mm.
and it's where Shania Twain is from. And I'm not saying it's gonna be country by any means, but I think there'll definitely be a little more inspiration from that side of things. storytelling. I'll just say
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when it comes to writing, how do tracks normally start off for you?
Um, I so what I say is I'm like a human being with very large emotions. And what usually happens is I will feel one of those emotions. Usually it's a sad emotion, but I will go into the studio with, a producer, maybe another co-writer who I trust, and I'll always start with a melody. Because whenever I hear back the melody, whenever it's right, I want that melody to give me the same feeling that I'm already feeling. And then I'll go to lyrics and work on that. And I'm a big believer in a song not doesn't have to be done like the day of. Like a lot of the time people are like, all right, guys, we're in for like 4 hours, let's finish the song. And I'm like, no, like I'll go back in like 5 times to rewrite, to whatever, until I'm like super happy with where it's at. But it always starts with a feeling, and then melody, and then lyrics, and then probably like 5 rewrites, and then it's good.
Nice. And with the lyrics side of things, how easy do you find it to add the lyrics to the melody and the sounds you've already created?
Oh God, you see, it really depends on the song. Like I was like, How Dare You came together so quickly. Like that whole song, like I said, was done probably within an hour, which is not usually the case when I write music, but that one just happened to be that way. For some songs, I have a song called If You Only Knew. Um, I finished, like, we wrote that song. It took maybe in the studio for like 6 or 7 hours, and the song was done. And I literally went back and rewrote the verses like 5 times. Like I just wasn't, because I kept wanting it to be more honest and more honest. And like I kept dancing around the subject of sort of what I wanted to say until I finally landed on the right way to say it. But I think it really depends on the song and how honest it is. It goes back really for me to about being just as honest as I can with the music.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And as you're still fairly young and fairly new to the industry, I'd like to find out what made you do this in the first place.
Oh my God, it was I've sang my whole life, and when I was 7, my parents were like, how can we make Alexander sing in front of an audience? So they put me up at my little local church actually to sing "Oh Canada," which is a bizarre combo, but it was the only place they could find that would let me sing. And then from there, I did a lot of choir and a lot of technical stuff. And I was a boy soprano, so I did choir from probably 9 to like, gosh, 13.
Mm.
And then my voice dropped. And then I was like, what the hell do I do? What the heck do I do? And it took about a year for my voice to settle. And at that point, it was when like Shawn Mendes and Charlie Puth and all these people were posting covers on YouTube. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. And my dad owns a recording studio. So I posted like one video to be like, Dad, look, like this could really be something. And I think it got like, I don't know, like it got like 50 views or something, like low. But my dad was like, oh my God, you're right. Because I'd never posted anything before. So then he started helping me, and we just started posting these covers on YouTube. And that's kind of how the pop side of things started to pick up, and started making trips down to London, Los Angeles, and writing music, and blah, blah, blah. A decade later, here we are.
Yeah, nice. And I've seen your stats as well with I've got it here, 500 million global streams and 300 million views on YouTube and 130 million likes on TikTok. How does that make you feel when you hear and see stats like that?
It's always so crazy to hear them like combined and just stated like that, because when it's something is like a passion of yours and just like your baby and you've been doing it for so long, it's like I don't often stop and like it's like day by day, and you just kind of take it day by day, and you just hope things work and whatnot. But it is wild to hear stuff like that, because it's like, okay, like this thing that I've like dedicated my life to is sort of like paying off a little bit. But I'm also like which I'm definitely working on. Very honestly, I'm somebody that's like never happy. Like I'm always want the next thing, and I always want blah, blah, blah. But it's like I've been trying really hard this year to like stop and smell the roses. It was like my one resolution for 2024, because I feel like last year I just kept my head down for so long and was just not appreciating anything that's happening around me, because I just try to get to the next thing. And so when I you say that, and I do think about it, I'm like I'm trying to give myself a pat on the back. Essentially, it makes me feel like, whoa, okay, things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all those streams and views, it helped you get the chance to be on tour with the likes of Charlie Puth and Benson Boone. What was it like being on the road with them?
Oh, so fun, so fun. Both those guys are amazing. I feel like there's this misconception a lot of time with touring, especially when you're opening for people, that like everyone's like best friends and like blah blah blah. A lot of the time for a lot of artists, when you're like opening for someone, it's so separate, and you're like doing your own thing, and you're just trying to get by and blah blah blah. But for both those situations, it was so amazing. Like they were so good to me and made me feel like great on the road, and especially Charlie Puth. He is a huge inspiration to me, right? Like I grew up listening to his music, and when I got that opportunity to open for him, um, I filmed it when I told my parents, and I was like crying, and it was such a lovely thing, and it made the whole experience so easy and so great. So it was unbelievably positive. I'm like really happy to say that.
Yeah, great stuff. Alexander, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.